Chakkunmudapadi Jnanamudapadi Panyamudapadi Vichamudapadi Alopodapadi.
Good evening, Dhamma friends. Teruvan Saranai, may you have the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. We are going to begin this evening Sutta studies by paying special attention to the selected discourse. Before that, I just want to welcome you all for this Sutta study class. Our whole effort is to understand the Dharma in the most possible and probable way, in line with the noble truths, and speed up our journey to completion of our attainment to enlightenment. With that intention in mind, we all came to this wonderful Sutta study class. I believe you understand the Dharma, and sometime I explain here in the class because all of you are wonderful disciples of the Buddha in many ways, so that whatever we discuss here will help you understand the Dhamma in numerous ways. With that wholesome thought in mind, I'm going to begin the Sutta study class by paying our homage to the Supreme Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa in Pali and English. You may also join with me. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. I pay my homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dhamma friends, the sutta we selected for this week is coming from Samyutta Nikaya. As you all know, Samyutta Nikaya is very rich with different discourses. I think Majjhima Nikaya is very direct. It has many information about the Buddha's teaching. And when we look at the Samyutta Nikaya, because of this kind of discourses, it has so much Dhamma in it, so that easily readable and understandable, and so that I have great respect to Samyutta Nikaya, where all the important Dhammas are collected in categories, in numbers, in so on, so that the Samyutta Nikaya is particularly the area where we found this discourse is significant. The main section this sutta is recorded is called Salayatana Vagga Pali, and in it, this subsection is Asivisa Vagga. Asivisa, the very famous Asivisopama Sutta is also in this section. That's why that section with 10 suttas are called Asivisa Vagga. And this sutta is the fourth one, and there is identical sutta number 5th, Patama Darukkhandopama Sutta and Dutiya Darukkhandopama Sutta. There are only slightest difference between these two discourses with one addition. So that if you discuss one discourse, it means that you have already covered the second discourse as well. So Darukkhandopama Sutta, very title tells us what it would be. Basically, it is a sutta that was delivered by the Buddha with simile. Darukhanda means log of wood. Huge log of wood was going down the river on a rainy day. It's extremely flooding. Then Buddha showed venerable monks that log of wood and took that simile into his mind to deliver the Dhamma which is necessary, especially for bhikkhus. If you look at the content of the discourse, some of them are very applicable and apparent for the development of the bhikkhu's life, monastic life. It doesn't mean that you cannot practice, but it is more relevant to some bhikkhus. Not only all the facts, but some facts. So Darukkhandopama Sutta is one of the famous discourses among monastic and also handful of lay devotees who really like to read discourses, because this is found easily because of the fact it has, because of the simile it tells us, and this kind of suttas are always referred by bhikkhus and bhikkhunis and lay followers in terms of explaining the clear, polished monastic life and how it should be if one practices monastic life to the end of suffering. So that this kind of suttas are always referred by the monastic discussion, and it should be, because the dharma that one has to be practiced is being explained very clearly with a simile. So that I think this has been discussed by you many times in your life. Perhaps you at least heard about the title of the discourse. So let's go into the discourse to clear the Dhamma. The Buddha, give me a second. At one time, the Buddha was staying on the bank of the Ganges near Kosambi. So the country the Buddha was during this discourse is Kosambi, and he was near the Ganges, the famous river Ganges. Then he saw the Ganges river Ganges was flooding, and a lot of water going down in a furious way, and the Buddha saw a log of wood, huge one, going down, and he addressed the monks like this: because do you see that great log of wood being carried along by the Ganges river current? Yes, Bhante. Then the Buddha continued, because if that log of wood does not land on this bank, does not land on the far shore, does not sink midstream, does not get caught on a sand bank or a high ground, it is not seized by human, it is not seized by non-human, it is not seized by a whirlpool, it is not rotten internally. Then because that log of wood would tend towards the ocean, it might definitely go to the ocean if none of the things mentioned before happen. Because it's inclined towards the ocean, slope towards the ocean. What is the reason for that? The reason is very clear. The Ganges river current tends towards the ocean, so that it could end up in the ocean without any doubt. Even so, because like the great log of wood would go to the ocean if not such thing happen, even so, because if you do not land on this bank, if you do not land on the far shore, if you do not sink midstream, if you are caught on a sandbank, if you are not caught on a sandbank, if you are not seized by human, if you are not by non-human, and if you are not seized by a whirlpool, and if you are not rotten internally, you would tend towards nirvana. You would go to nirvana. You are inclined into nirvana, because Buddha says, because right view tends towards nirvana. When you do not have any of those things, in other words, if you do not caught up with any of those things, this bank, far shore, and midstream, sandbank, by human, by non-human, and then whirlpool, and internally rotten. If you do not have any of those problems, you will be in nirvana for sure, because your right view, your samadhi is always there. If you do not have any of those things, one of the things we can see from that person is from samadhi. It is samadhi. So that is why he end up his training with the experience of nirvana. So this is the very first part of the discourse. So you could see how wonderful it is, how the Buddha brought the Dhamma into monk's attention by seeing the natural thing. He was able to bring the Dhamma into monk's mind in an extraordinary way. We sometimes set off this kind of classes or dana or particular special arrangement to discuss Dhamma, but Buddha's approach to Dharma and explaining Dhamma along with the great disciple, were spontaneous. They were not that planned. We can see some of the sessions were done with invitation, and also kind of the place was were prepared for that. But many of those beautiful dhammas took place, at the same, without any plan, but it comes because of the situation. So in this case, we see the great log of wood at this in the river, and Buddha was able to point it out and show the monks direction towards the Dharma. So it's hard to remember all the things at once, but if you read for the first time, second time, and third time, you would get the point. In order for us to understand the Dhamma, simile also should be there in our mind. When only simile is understood, so the Dharma is also understood. So Buddha show monk a great log of wood, and then if it is not coming to this side or the other side, or if it is not in the sinking down, if it is not sinking down on the midstream, or it is not caught by a sandbank, or if it is not taken by human, if it is not taken by non-human, if it is not tied by taken by a whirlpool, if it is not rotten internally, it could end up in the ocean. So if one thing happens, the other thing could not happen either. For example, if it is not, if it came to this side of the river and stuck with another tree or any or stone or whatever it is, it's going to be there until somebody's taken, until it is rotten there, until it's broken into pieces there. So it is enough for one thing to happen for a person if he come to the Dhamma. If you have, when we come to the explanation, you will see what this means. But if one thing of the mentioned factors happen to a particular person, it is enough for him or her to end up his life cycle in a suffering, because one thing could create the other things also in the list. So that is what the Buddha said in the first part of the discourse. Now we go to the parable explained section. So when this was said, a certain monk said this to the Buddha. This monk represented all the disciples like us, so he does. There is no name in the sutta. Perhaps an average monk who is really in the Dharma asked this question from the Buddha: what now, Bhante, is this bank? What is the fasho? What is sinking midstream? What is caught on a sandbank? And what is seized by human? What is seized by non-human? What is seized by a whirlpool? And what is rotten internally? What these terms mean actually, Bhante? That's what the question is about. So the Buddha kindly explained those, the meaning of those similes. The first one, this bank, which means the bank we are in, is a designation for the 6 internal sense bases. So if you look at the Asi Visopama Sutta, the sutta which is in the same section, the person who is fearful about 4 types of snakes and the 5 five person who actually torture him, and another person is coming with the sword and he enters into the village where there are no human beings at all, and then after that he actually went to the dead end. There is a river there, it's a dead end. So behind him all these dangers are looking for him to kill him, to make him suffered a lot. Now he is stopped by the river bank. And in the simile of the Asivisopama Sutta, this show is mean by something. But when we come to Asivisopama Sutta, particularly with the abandoned houses are called internal sense bases. So internal sense bases is called, and also there is another one closer to it. And whatever you found out inside of the house, particularly on those pots and pans and cupboards, and they are also empty. So in other places of the Tripitaka, where the Buddha took the 6 sense bases, there are other similes like 6 animals, and then there are other important discourse in the same section is talking about the jackal and also the turtle. Those similes always take the importance of Dharma with regard to the 6 sense bases. Here this bank where we are is nothing but these 6 sense bases. So this bank is a designation for the 6 sense bases. And the Fasho Bhikkhu is a designation for the external sense base. Fasho is those Rupa, Sabda, Gandha, Rasa, Sparsha, Dharma, while this bank or Neosho is the eyes, ears, the nose, the tongue, the body, and also the mind. So now we would be able to understand what Dharma the Buddha is going to tell us. So this bank is internal sense basis, and the Fasho, the other side of the bank, is external sense basis. And sinking midstream is a designation for lust and desire. Try your best to keep every important in your mind right now. This, if not, I will explain you. So this is about a great log of wood pushing down itself to the shore, to the ocean. It's going down on the river. And having seen this, Buddha showed it to venerable monks, and he said that if this log of wood, it does not land on this bank, if this log of wood doesn't come to the bank you are in, it should go down. But if it comes there, if it is coming there, so it doesn't go down. So when we see the simile, this bank is a designation for six sense bases. So the six sense base means always a Dhamma factor. It's always something to be understood, because you and myself could say, I exist here, I went there, just because of sense basis. You perceive the world so and so because of the six senses. You have a particularly called mind and body because of these six senses. So that it is a very important elements of the Dharma, and try to understand the Dharma here in this particular discourse, why this is called this bag. And the fasho is considered external sense basis. As you know, rupa, the whatever we see, then the sounds, whatever we hear, taste, smell, touch, and thinking. These are the six internal sense bases. So if the log of wood doesn't go to let's say does go to the far this bag, it's going to stuck there, and either things happen like rotten, and then it could be taken by human to use for different matters and so on. And if you do not take your six senses and it functions seriously and accurately according to them, it's going to be really bad for you, because the mind is being created there, and when things go wrong with any of the senses, you will end up with something negative in your mind. So that understanding six sense bases and their respective objects is very important, because either one goes to nirvana or other way around is decided as long as he or she understand the importance of six sense bases and their respective external sense bases. So now we know what what this bank and what the other bank is. Now sinking down, this is a resignation for lust and desire. The very word sinking down means now you cannot come up. If you sink down in a river or a tank, you are stuck with the mud or the sea plants or whatever plants in the water. So in the meantime, your ability to inhale and exhale is blocked by the water, so that if you do not come quickly out of the water to the top of the level of the water, you are going to die. So that sinking down always is dangerous. You will be upset, you will be fearful, so that your physical body might quickly react to it. Sometime non-reaction is there. Anyway, something harmful could happen if this sinking down happen. So when it comes to the Dharma, sinking down is compared to lust and desire, Nandi Raga. Very dangerous state of mind, because you are not able to trust them. You are not able to look at them because they are so speed and subtle, so that understanding Nandiraga is difficult, and applying Dharma to stuff Nandiraga is difficult, so that it could help many people around in numerous ways and justify itself. So Nandiraga is the quality of Tanha, and if Tanha is in our mind, or if Nandiraga are always haunting in our mind, that means we sink down on the noble out of the noble training. So when you sink down, you are helpless and you are going to die. Likewise, if you do not pay attention to your sila, samadhi, and panya, those qualities, you would be not doing well in the order. You are not doing much to secure enlightenment. So that midstream is a designation for lust and desire. And next thing the simile says is quoting by a sandbag. If I think many of you have seen sandbank in the middle of the river, on by the side of the river, depending on the number of rains you had. So you could see a lot of water, but at some point when droughts came, you don't see water, but you see the sandbank. They are very tiny sand, which are very, very nice up to our feet. So everybody would like to go there. So sandbank is a thing that those part of trees and other items, taken into a and also keep there for the sake of sharing. So for the sake of understanding, and then when Nandiraga is there, it could be very dangerous for people, especially with regard to attaining enlightenment. Let me get my Sutta. It went back. Yes. So caught on a sandbank is kind of an I view. When it's in the middle, or mostly in the middle, or in the side of a river. It depends on how the water flows down. And so anyhow, it is always there, and it is a designation for I am conceit, mana. Mana could be in basically in three categories: Sayyama, Heenamana, Sayyamana, Heenamana, Sayyamana, Sadisamana. So people can have conceit in either of the ways, or because they have that lust in their mind, they have that energy for suffering in their mind, so that you have man. So I am. For example, flow of water is called river, or anything similar, because of the two banks on both sides. If water doesn't have bank, it's not called a river, or and the water is also going everywhere. So the river is made by two side of the water. Actually, when we say river, what it is called? The body of water, or the two banks? You can ask this question from you. Even if the water is not there, it's called river. It's called waterway. Even if there is no water, that designation is not gone, right? But if water flows down without two banks, it doesn't call a river. It's called flooding. It's called water everywhere, something like that. So the very river is because of this bank and the other bank, and also water and so forth. So that we all know the fact that river is also made by condition. The very word river is made by condition. Likewise, I am is also a concept made by ignorance, made by craving, made by tanha, made by upada. But it has some good side too. Until if you come to the right dhamma, based on the Buddha's teaching, now you are really good. You have faith, you have confidence, you have shraddha, you have mindfulness, you have wisdom. So still you have I. That type of I would be good, because you understood the nature of I, so that you want to end it. So I am going to attain nirvana. In the first place, you can say that. Otherwise, there is no encouragement happening among living beings. If I do not attain to enlightenment, why do I try my best? Then we can take a lot of time to explain the things, very important things about the way one should think about I, at the same time keeping I out of us, and live, and what benefits we can get out of this particular notion. So Sutta clearly says that the sandbank is the I. Sandbank is the I. We know Attanang Upamankatva. comparing yourself to others. Sometimes Buddha said, do good things. Because if somebody come and do something good for you, you're going to like it. You are going to appreciate it. So similarly, you can do good things for others and they will happy. They will be happy like you. So that comparing yourself to others, you could do something. So in this case, bhikkhus should not have only I, me, and myself ideas, because they are to in this order to end them, so that you should not have at least an iota of I. So anyway, if you stuck with I, if you stuck with man, you are likened to that log of wood which is stuck on the in the middle of the river on a sandbank. So there is no escape, because it goes to the very edge of the sandbank, and it's difficult to take. There should be a huge volume of water coming down, so that then it should go. Anyway, so the sandbank is a designation for I am the man. Then what is the next simile? What is seized by human? What is seized by human? It is like this. The person lives associating lay people. Of course, you can associate lay people, but with a particular way. So it is said in the discourse, he lives associating with lay people. Lay people. He rejoices with lay people. He sorrow with lay people. He is happy when they are happy and sad when they are sad. He involves himself in their current affairs and duties as if they were his own. It is in such a way that he is that he is intimate with the village. So this is called bhikkhu seized by human. Particularly, if you attach to a particular family who actually gives you dana and who take care of the temple, you become closer to them, not as a monk, not as a spiritual leader, but as a family member. We experience this very much in our life. There is no anyone there to draw the limit. You go and sit wherever you want, and they talk to you at any time, and then you all talk about your own thing. And the monk also should be in thinking of ways to help the family, because they are very close. And when children got passed from the exams and other achievements, the monk consider that it is their child, so he might go and do some party. So do you see that when this happened to a monk or a nun, he may not be having enough time to mental cultivation. People might like us to take their home to give Gilampas, do this kind of periodical services. Actually, it should be there always in the temple. But at the same time, they should think that these monks need rest, and monks also should be able to find kind of isolation, because living with lay people as family members doesn't give you anything except deterioration of the noble eightfold path. So so then how we deal with the people like that? When people come and show us their intimacy in numerous ways, why not we should do something? Of course, I am towards it, but at the same time, we should be careful not to attach to any family. Sometimes monks may not be able to go anywhere else because of what you call duties and this kind of relationship and so forth. I know one monk who actually attached to two families, and this monk was asked to go from the temple for some legitimate reason. It's not because of any wrong thing. Then he was told by the other party who made the arrangement to go somewhere, said that you can be away for 1 week or 2 weeks, and it depends on you and so forth. So then what happened was he was unable to take the decision because he attached to a particular family, and they say that if Bante, you go out, we do not go to temple. We do not do anything at the temple. We even do not organize any dan and so forth. Then the monk is so upset, and earlier they didn't come to temple because of me. Who came to temple recently? They periodically visit the temple, and they are like my brothers and sisters. So you have a particular way to think. So you think about that family in such a way. At the end, if your mind is weak, you would be a victim of the attachment. You would be a very important character for anybody to make you upset, make you unhappy, make you suffer. So that keeping a lay person or a lay family that close doesn't give you anything except waste of time. I'm not telling you guys, I'm not telling other people who are very close to venerable monks in terms of providing for requisites and other things, but I'm talking about monks being attached to lay people, then lay people attached to monks. So we all should think about this, because yeah, this kind of suttas are not that the content of the discourse are not that spreaded. Anyhow, this kind of simile should be really good, particularly the seized by human, where the attachment is there always, so that the monks is not going to be free. It's just like a lay life. So after this explained, this is very relevant. I told you at the very beginning that some of the factors are there, are very rootable for monks. So monks should be careful about it. Then seized by non-human. It is interesting. The reason why this is to add to this one, because of the society at that time in 6th century BC. Some people were grouped by some leaders to tell that there is nothing in this world. You can get all the happiness, joy, and prosperity when you are gone. So that right now, from this moment, you make a wish that you go to heaven, because you have no problem there, so you'll be safe. So unfortunately, a lot of people agreed upon for the idea, because they did not know what is truth and what is untruth, what is possible and what is impossible. So anyway, seized by non-human, it is said in the discourse, a certain person lives the holy life aspiring for rebirth in one of the groups of devas, thinking, by rule or by vow, by austerity or holy life, I shall become a deva, or one manage one amongst them. So seized by non-human means we think of divine estates, divine existence very much, and somehow make a wish that I should go there. It's also not very good, because you are going to be away from some of with this kind of ideas in mind. So the next one is seized by, now we discuss seized by non-human. Next one is seized by a whirlpool. Whirlpool is a body of water that makes everything a mess. It's always go like cycle. So Nandi Raga, designation for the 5 codes of sense pleasures. Sensual pleasure with regard to eye, with regard to ear, with regard to nose, with regard to tongue, and with regard to the body. So these are called 5 codes of sense pleasures. So it is likened to whirlpool. Whirlpool, as you know from Niagara Falls and other places, is so violent. Huge body of water make a cycle powerfully, so that and everything is going to upside down. Everything is going to be away with that current of water. So if we have the desire for sensual pleasures very much in an intense way, we would like this someone who has already fallen into a whirlpool. It's just like a tornado. You know, the whirlpool in the water is cycling, making cycle like this, and of course, only thing that kind of whirlpool can do is damaging the river bank and damaging the surrounding things. That's all. But when it comes to sensual, five code of sensual pleasure, it is the very beginning of samsara, I would say, because five code of sensual pleasures are always attached to the mind. So these five things pollute the mind, and the mind again, after pollution, after garbage, provide the opportunities for these five. They are working together. So that what we are trying to do here in the discourse is to weaken the five hindrances and put your mind on a super place. So whirlpool again is the danger and is the barrier, sensual pleasures. It is very pleasing to our mind. For example, um, when you see something that you wish for, you become happy. When you hear something that you like very much, you become happy. And likewise, from each senses, you are going to enjoy that so-called happiness. But at some point, you fed up with any of those things, and later, with that experience, you do things just only for survival. For that, you have to understand what it is. So whirlpool is a water which always make a huge mess like this, and if anything or put into that water, you don't see it again, because it's going here and there. So whirlpool. The last one is what is because being rotten internally. Being rotten internally. Uh, it is said like this: a certain person is immoral, evil by nature, impure, of suspicious behavior, given to concealed deed, a false ascetic, claiming to be an ascetic, not celibate, claiming to be celibate, rotten internally, forgotten to the core, preached by yeah. So these are the explanation given to being rotten internally. So it means that you are not a genuine monk. You are not a genuine bhikkhu. You are not a genuine layperson. You show that you are very genuine, but you are not. In that case, you nothing develop in the Noble Eightfold Path. So the social factor is also coming to you. So you are considered very much by people. So you go and you come back and you do this and that. So it's not a behavior of a well-organized person. So there what you have is your qualities in mind is going to be weak if you do not do something. If you do not use that energy, it's going to be over. So that rotten internally means you are hiding your principles, you are hiding your true nature. So they are always making things in their mind, so that they are just like rotten internally. With regard to the wood, when it is rotten, nobody can use it for anything anymore. It's always mixed with other things, so that we cannot expect that he's able to keep his mind in away from it. So but if you have right understanding, right thinking, you would be able to clean. You would be able to clean your mind and keep it safe. So in this discourse, the last one, being rotten internally, means you are not genuine in front of people. You are genuine in front of people. You show your genuineness in front of people, but truly you are not that genuine because you do something not nice for monkshood or bhikkhuhood or bhikkhunihood. So you are acting. So this is what the Buddha said in the second part. Now we go to the last part of the discourse. It is about the conversation between a cowherd called Nanda. So Nanda was at one corner of the sermon, and he didn't make even a sound from his mouth, or there was nothing. So he listened to the discourse very carefully. So he draw pictures, and he actually he draw pictures of his mind when the Buddha delivered the sermon, and he said that at the end of the discourse, not any monks from the group, but he said that I understand this simile very much. So I will not land on this bank or the other bank, and I will not sinking down. I'll be caught. I'll not be caught by on a sandbank, and I do not let happen other things also. So then, having said that, he said, please give me ordination. Then the Buddha said the famous thing as found in a few discourses, unless we get a permission from guardians, it could be parents, it could be your spouse, it could be this and that, you are not going to be a monk. You are not fully ordained. So then the Nanda was accepted by a disciple of the Buddha, and then he was able to have everything he wants. But very interestingly, Buddha said here that unless you hand over those cows to the owner, you cannot be a monk. You have to fulfill your duties to the owner of the cows and also the house. And once you finish them, let's say 80% or 70%, there you can get the opportunity to do your own, to go around. So likewise, Nanda was advised by the Buddha to do all kinds of activities before his ordination. Hand over the cows to the owner and do all kinds of other activities that you postpone so far, and do them, because you are not going to do any of those things once you become a monk. So then we see that the cowherd called Nanda received the going forth from the Buddha and also received the ordination. And then after some time with his Dhamma practice, he was able to actually attain to the supreme goal. So this is about Darukkhandopama. So Darukkhandopama Sutta has a beginning, and in the middle we discuss the Dhamma, and when we come to the end of it, we see that how Nanda, Gopalaka, Nanda could be benefited from it. So I think it's a relatively small discourse, okay, and it tells the Dhamma in a beautiful way with the log of wood, right? So the interesting Dhamma I always find is the six sense basis and external sense basis. Rupa Shabda Gandha Rasa Sparsha, Chakku Sota Gana Jivha Kaya Man. These are the two sides that we come across in terms of clearing the Dhamma, in terms of making the mind as mind, So this is the two dhammas that we talk about. With regard to Patichampada, we talk about this. With regard to consciousness, we talk about this. So without sense bases and sensory experiences, you cannot talk about anything like human, divine, Brahma, hell, or and so forth. So being able to restrain six senses provide you a very good, very important approach to practice the other things. Actually, with regard to Vipassana meditation, we have this. The six internal sense bases and external sense bases. If you are able to see the connection between, that is also important. Six external and internal. Then the other unwholesome quality talk about here is lust and desire, nandiraga. Friends, they are very indiscernible. You cannot even have them yet because of certain reasons. But anyway, they are very dangerous, I would say, nandiraga, and one has to work on various ways to understand the nature of nandiraga. Nandi, quickly you have it, that joy and happiness, and raga, you attach to what you experience. In other words, suppose you are watching a very nice teledrama or a documentary or a movie, let's say that, then as soon as you open eyes and turn your head and see the movie, then and there, nandiraga rises quickly. When seeing happen, when hearing happen, when tasting, smelling, touching, and thinking happens, this nandiraga rises. So that it's not difficult, it's not easy for a person to see it and tackle it. But when you start your meditation and get some maturity with meditation, you will really enjoy this because it's so helpful. Anyway, nandiraga could be understood in such a way, and then seized by human, we discuss seized by non-human. Seized by human means you neglect your practice but attached to people who are maybe friendly with you, and you tend to support them, you tend to work things out them, you tend to, even time of the Buddha, we see that some monks were doing wedding arrangement. Some monks were taking messages from one corner to the other because bhikkhus mendicants were used by those rulers to do that kind of thing. So that is called, upadana, or attachment to a family. Look at what happened to Venerable Devadatta and Ajasat. So Venerable Devadatta was planning to be friendly with Ajasatta, King Ajasatta, so that what happened, Ajasatta was a completely changed person, and by the power of the Venerable Devadatta, so that he was, the king was to attach to Venerable Devadatta because of his psychic power, and at the end, he killed his own father by taking instruction from. So basically, if you have attachment and you are going to attach with someone, problems arise. Not only upadana pacha, bhava pacha, jati pacha, jara marana dukkha. Because of upadana, there are relative problems. And when you attach to a family, there would be those problems on your way, depending on the level of relationship you have. Anyway, for mendicants, keeping one family as their sole great family is not good. It could damage your principles. Nobody is outside to check them because that's the society. Nobody can watch somebody in terms of looking for whether this person practices Dhamma. It is the individual should understand this, that I do not attach to any family and do this and that. So caught by non-human is also interesting fact. It says that you are working any good thing, you are working with any principles just because you want to be united with the Almighty God or whatever gods. It is also silly. It is also dangerous, because with regard to the suffering in samsara, you are expecting suffering. Being born as a human is not the end of the problem. It is a temporary solace people get. Uh, but when you have a new birth, you do not know what exactly you did in previous life. So that uh, being by non-human is not that good. So it means that you are going to have some troubles. You are going to have some sansaric suffering, because being a divine being, you experience more suffering. And then uh, again, whirlpool and internally rotten, they are very interesting too. So the thing we need to understand is 5 code of sensual pleasures, and also the doubles are double way of life, or cheating yourself with sila samadhi and so forth, is making so much akusala. So people will see you do all kind of things in the proper way, but when you are alone, you do other things which is not nice. So this discourse, Darukkhandopama Sutta, in my view, is for that group of monks over there, for taking them out of sensual pleasures, nandiraga, and different concept about divine beings and so forth, so that it is relevant for them. However, we can apply the facts of the facts or in this discourse uh, in a way we understand, in the way we life, in the way we continue our life. For example, this one, the first one, internal and external sense basis, right? So they are pretty much right. With regard to the river, this show and the other show are called external and internal sense basis, and in the middle, the water, it's me, it's I. So I is being created because of the two banks. The water flows down between because of the two banks. And when two banks are compared to senses and their objects, we can see that I is being made with the combination of senses and sensory experiences, and also rest of the process. So there may be many things to share and add with the Dharma here in the Darukkhandopama Sutta, so that I would stop here talking. We actually covered the discourse pretty much, but if you have anything to add to it in terms of suttas, in terms of Dhamma, in terms of your own ideas, please do so. Consider that this is one of the famous discourses in with similes, and it has been taken to consideration, especially by monks who meditate, because you easily get that point. You would be in nirvana if nothing happened to you in the training. You understand your senses, internal and external. You understand Nandiraga. You understand 5 code of sensual pleasures. You understand the relationship you should maintain with you and people, and you are not expecting any existence anymore, even divine, so that you are away from whirlpool like Nandiraga, so that your journey to enlightenment would be really, really easy. So that is the discourse. So I can see Dr. Bial has raised his hand. Please take your time.
Bante, this is an amazing sutra. I always like this sutra. It's kind of just giving some red flags for us along. I mean, the mind is naturally inclined towards Nibbana, but obviously there are a lot of obstacles along the way. So beware, these are the red flags. Buddha is
Yeah.
flagging, look at this, look at that. So there's a similar sutta, I think it's Chula Saropama Sutra about the tree again, like how when monks practice where you can get caught to get stuck in different um, areas. For example,
Yeah.
it's a guy who goes to look for heartwood, but he
Yeah.
brings the leaves and branches. It's like a monk who goes to get enlightened, leave the home life, like, and to homelessness, but then again get a lot of praise and gain, and then he stops the path right there because only he bring branches of the recluse life. So it's
Yeah.
interesting how there's a few sutras Buddha talks about the dangers, it's amazing how he kind of guide his disciples through
Yeah.
this difficult terrain. It's not easy, but he just gives you all these tips. It's a very smart way of delivering the teachings.
Yeah. That's true. Chula Saropama Sutta and Mahasaropama Sutta are two discourses that a person goes to the forest to look for a particular hardwood, but if he doesn't know what hardwood and what outer layer and branches, leaves, and so on, he might be coming out of the forest with not with hardwood but something else,
Yeah.
which is missing the point. So if you really know hardwood and what you would definitely go and find it for the purpose you are looking for. Similarly, if you do not know the purpose of your life and are unable to adhere to those principles, you would end up your life with nothing. Likewise, if you do not understand the very important factors like senses and their function and what could happen when the Nandiraga, Tanha, Upadana arises, uh, you will be really out of the noble path. Though,
What is the
despite your identity as a
Yeah.
monk or nun, you will be out of the context.
This
Towards
Nandi
Nibbana.
Raga, how is it different from craving? Is it like another like a coloring of craving, which goes to Nandi Raga?
I think Nandiraga are two aspects of Tanha. If you look at the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta and few other suttas where it says Nandira Tatra Tatrabi Nandini, Nandiraga Sahagata Tatra Tatrabi Nandini.
Yeah.
Seyatidam Kamatanha Bhavatanha Vibhatanha. So when we take the concept, the very fact Tanha or craving, it has these two aspects. Tanha is produced as one thing because of this Nandi and Raga. So first of all, you are going to please your mind with certain pictures, here, sounds, and so forth. Then you are going to entertain it a little bit. That's called Raga. So you like and you kind of taking it into. So Nandi, if you take just one word of Nandi Raga, Nandi means Nandati. So with whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you taste, whatever you smell, you find that
Pleasing.
pleasing nature.
Yeah. Abhinandati
Common.
also comes like that. Abhinandati, the same
Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
Abhinandati actually this is the verb of Nandi. I think what you do with Abhinandati is Nandi. Like, so yeah, very true. It's connected. Then Raga means, if you take that word as a single, separated from this, Raga means always passion.
Passion.
It has some sticking nature of it. So Nandi is always, if I take this, this is my personal understanding. Nandi, Raga, there are two terms are together to show the shape of or the color of Tanha. But with Nandi, you always please your mind, you always, making connection with things and so on. So with raga, with nandi, you are more close to tanha. With raga, it's a raga is baby size of actually upadana. So raga has a type of binding nature always. So that's why I think immediately with tanha you have upadana, tanha pacha upadana. We actually, even though we take these two terms as two, when it happens together.
Simultaneously.
There is no fraction of time to see that this is tanha, this is upadana, because it's just like water and milk. They are mixed, in an extraordinary way, in arising and also in connecting each other. It happens quickly. So that Nandi Raga is the real nature of craving, as if you look at the term and if you look at the way it happens to us. So there arises together when senses work, and there you have that tanha quickly, and also attachment together, so that they are happening together.
Thank you, Bhante.
You're welcome. Is there anyone who would like to say something? Sometimes the suttas are very clear. Only thing we do is listening and making connection to each discourses. It's happened because if you have no any difficult point, there is no point to discuss. But even even if you have very clear mind, you can talk like Dr. Pial. So he is always trying to get something out of the discourse with reference and so on. And if you are, I know many people who listen to this discourse can do that. But anyway, it's a kind invitation. If not, it's fine. So the Darukkhandopama Sutta is a sutta, another sutta we should sit and read, not only once, but couple of times, making connection of the fact of this discourse to another one. Why? Because our samadhi might be very strong, and we would be that flag in our mind, which shows those unwholesomeness in mind. So we have to have those important things in our mind always to show us that this is right, this is wrong, this is the thing we need to continue further, this is not the thing we need to go further, and so on. So that this sutta is a very important one. Okay, if you do not have anything, I would end today's session, because right after this, in 1 hour time, I have another program, and tomorrow is busy for us because of the winter full moon seal program. So I would take time to get things ready for this night program and also tomorrow's program. Thank you very much for coming and participating in the discussion with your earnest participation and contribution. It's very important for others, and it's important for myself as well. So with so much Shraddha in mind, to the Dhamma, to the Buddha, to the Sangha, to everyone in that Sangha category, we are going to end today's Sutta discussion by wishing you good health and peace of mind. And the supreme good health and peace of mind is Nirvana, and may you also attain that Nirvana very soon.